Hello there, welcome to Panto land, and I'm here with my esteemed colleague, Mr. Paterson.
Just going through my fan mail.
We do get an awful lot here at the Grand Theatre in Blackpool, where we're performing in pantomime. And I notice, in fact, that my esteemed colleague here has no pants on.
That is right, because today is the 7th of... Oh, here they are now!
Oh, on cue! On cue, the pants arrive at this very
but you
moment.
know what? I don't need them today, because today is the 7th of December, which we will all know is No Pants Day. Miming the pants.
The origin, of course, the more wise and astute members watching this right now will know that pantomime stems from the phrase pantomime, as in miming wearing pants, which will be ably demonstrated by my colleague once again. Traditionally, when pantomime was invented, all the characters would be pantless, and instead they would mime that they had trousers on. Look, there's no trousers, but you will hardly believe it. There we go, slapping the thigh. Now, the tradition of the slapping of the thigh, of course, is I'm getting the dust off my pants. I'm getting the dust. And the astute audience members would shout, but you have no pants on. And he said, I have no pants. You have no pants. But I have pants. You've no pants. But I have pants. But you've no pants. And on and on and on for up to 15 minutes. It was exquisite. Anyway, I'm sure that we'll have some more traditions, and we'll educate you more in some of the traditions of pantomime in the forthcoming weeks. But in the meantime, it's myself and my esteemed colleague, Mr. Paterson, myself, Mr. Royle, signing off just for now. Thank you. Put your pants on. Well, hello, Mr. Paterson.
Mr. Royle.
Today we'd like to talk to you a little bit about makeup.
Makeup and the application of makeup traditionally in pantomimes.
Of course. More specifically, the war years. Yes. The Great War years.
The Great War of 44.
44. 39 to 44. I remember it well, of course.
Yes, of course.
I remember it very well. And the greats like Olivier and Gielgud did not have access to great makeup like this.
The palette.
The palette. The palette was not available during the war years, of course.
So, what did they do, Mr. Royle?
They utilized their rations.
They certainly did.
Hence the phrase, you have a rash on your face.
Yes. So, what we will do first, we will show what they would do with their base. So they would take a tin of beans out of their rations, and they would remove the lid, of course, and then they would take a tea bag. And then they would dip the tea bag into the bean juice.
Thus simply dipping.
And then they would just apply it
liberally on the cheeks, giving a rather marvellous rouge effect.
Now, what we're showing today is the makeup that would be applied by the dame in the production.
Of course, of course. Less rouge would be applied to the face of a minor character,
such as the comic.
And maybe chalk dust, or more importantly, coal dust for the villain.
Now, if it was a dame that was a villain, such as an ugly sister, they also would apply just a single bean to the face. Thus,
of course,
as
a
wart.
wart. I'm going to have a hideous wart on my nose just there for this production. And of course, to amplify the cheekbones, one would use ketchup, of course, Mr. Paterson.
A little bit of rouge.
Just a little
on
bit of
cheeks.
I'll ketchup
just
on
there,
each cheek.
And there.
Looking wonderful as ever.
Look fantastic.
But where's the sparkle? I hear you say, where is the sparkle?
Ah, well then, sugar. Sugar would be the sparkle, all the way from China.
Yes, Chinese sugar was the finest, and of course, rationed quite severely.
Oh!
We sprinkle the sugar
all
on your
over the
face. Like this.
And then the footlights would shine right bright on the faces.
Ah, perfection personified. Oh, my warts
indeed. Oh.
Hark! The stage beckons, Mr. Paterson.
The stage does beckon.
Ah, Mr. Paterson.
Mr. Royle.
Mr. J. Mr. J here has just been inquiring where does the term putting one's slap on come from? Well, of course, before the advent of normal cosmetics, one would quite literally slap on one's makeup. Thus.
Mr. Royle.
Mr. Paterson.
Mr. Royle.
Of course, the more astute viewers will notice there's something slightly different about Mr. Paterson today. That's because it is Pet Friday here in Panto land, where traditionally, of course, all performers in the role of Mr. Dandini are required to be replaced by pets. This is your Act 2 beginner's call, Mr. Paterson. Come on, Act 2 beginners, to the stage. Ah, Boxing Day! One of the finest pantomime stories I can recall is when Gielgud himself boxed himself up and delivered himself to the Drury Lane Theatre for a matinee performance on Boxing Day, hence the phrase. Curiously, I've had a parcel delivered for myself today. I wonder what's inside.
Mr. Royle!
Oh, it's Mr. Patterson! Mr. Patterson! Whoa! That's your Act 1 beginners, Mr. Patterson!
Already?
You were delivered just in time!
Oh, fantastic. Am I heavy?
Oh, rather.
It will be the stuffing.
Ah, Gielgud himself, of course, was very partial to stuffing. Ooh.
Mr. Royle gazed languidly at the camera and wondered if Mr. Patterson knew what day it was today.
Mr. Paterson knew full well what today was, Mr. Royle. Today was Alan Bennett Day here in Panto land.
Oh, no, it isn't.
Oh, yes it is.
Oh, no, it isn't, is it, Mother?
I looked for my typewriter. Where was it?
Behind you.
Mother said, write another one of your fantastic plays there, Alan. So I wrote a play and she said, well, you'll have to do another then, won't you?
Woo! The call was given for Act 1 beginners, and they moved slowly in the direction of the stage.
I really do begrudge being called a beginner. I've worked many times at the National.
Absolutely. Let's go see Mrs. Shepherd in the van.
Ah, pantomime traditions with Mr. Royle!
Well, what a fabulous day it is today! Hoppity hop!
Hoppity hop indeed, one of my favourite days, of course. The 30th of December, Hoppy Hop Day!
So named because of Dame Maggie Smith, of course!
Yes, Maggie Smith in the production of Cinderella in 1956 at Theatre Royal Drury Lane. What happened, Mr. Royle?
Well, during the first act, she was hit by a stray pyrotechnic.
Oh, she certainly was.
And had to continue the whole show on only one leg!
Yes, but in true Maggie Smith fashion, she got on quite well, didn't she?
Absolutely, she did fine, until, of course, the famous slipper scene.
When she tried to slip on the slipper, they didn't have the correct foot.
And she subsequently tumbled to the floor. Hopefully there are no tumbling from us today, Mr. Benson.
I do hope so, but that's our Act 2 beginner's call, so we must be on.
Must fly, hop, hop!